Hey, what's going on, everybody? Wess Moore here with you. It is More Sports. Glad you're with us on this Wednesday night. We've got the Razorbacks taking on South Carolina. A little later tonight, we'll get you in and get you out way before the game. But want to talk about the portal tonight and specifically just go position by position and see where they're good and where Arkansas needs to get some help. Kevin Bohannon will be joining me in just a second. Let's get this show started.
All Arkansas, all sports. It's More Sports.
Bring in Kevin Bohannon from hogsports.com and get the very latest from him and get his feel on everything. Kevin, welcome into the show. How are you?
Hey, doing good, Wes. Thanks for having me again, brother.
You bet. I want to start on offense, and I think we agree Arkansas needs more help on defense than on offense. Feel like they've addressed their needs on offense. Still could go out and maybe get a player here or there, but let's start on offense first. And of course, you always start at quarterback. I think with Hank Hendricks making it official last night, Arkansas is pretty much done at the quarterback position, you feel?
That's exactly right. They are done at the quarterback position. They've got 4 right there, and excuse me, sorry about that.
No. Is that a portal edition? Is that
That's
breaking
right.
news?
It is a player, so I'll have to check that when we get done. Yeah, they've got 4 now, and Hank Hendricks was reclassified to 2026. The new rankings came out. He would still be the top quarterback in Arkansas in the 2026 class. The great debate was, if you're going to take a 2026, why wouldn't you take Kane Archer? And that's been a debate that's been going on for a couple of weeks now. Well, the staff saw otherwise, and it's been reported. I know that another media outlet said that Hendricks signed a 2-year deal that may be close to $1 million. So this is a gamble a little bit that what Ryan Silverfield is doing and saying, okay, I can build for the future. He feels that he has enough time that he could get, it could all change. You and Joe mentioned it on the Buzz the other day that, look, Hendricks could come in and say, okay, I'm out after a year or two. I'm out after 2 years. Want to go somewhere else if it doesn't work out. But that's with any position or any player. So you can't sign a player knowing that could happen. If you do that, you're playing from a position of fear, and that doesn't cut it in today's college football, college sports, period. So, yeah, quarterback's good. I think they're going to be good there for the next 3 or 4 years.
No, and I think they've got healthy competition. They've got guys that they can develop for the future. I think it's a solid group. Yeah. Yep. And you look, ideally, would you like to have 5? Yeah, but right now you got 4, and that's a good place to start. So I
Absolutely.
think
add a walk-on if you want to, or somebody from FCS level. I think you'll be good.
All right, let's go to running back. And honestly, K-Bo, this may be my favorite position on the group. It's one of them because I really like this running back room. And I told Sutton this the other night, and he agreed. He started rattling off all the names in the run. He already knows who's in that running back room, and he's excited to work with all those guys. But signed 2 out of the portal, Sutton Smith out of Memphis, and the Michigan running back, Jasper Parker. I think this room is set.
I do too. And it's funny that, I went back and watched the Sutton Smith interview the other night, and for a young man that a lot of Memphis people were saying didn't like Ryan Silverfield, he seems really gun-ho about coming in and helping the Razorbacks do big things in 2026. It's a diverse room and a versatile room. And when you have a running back room that can be both of those things at the same time, you're going to have a lot of success. You don't have a lot of the same type of guy. You got a Braylon Russell, who is a kind of a shifty bruiser type. You got Jasper Parker, who's former 4-star that comes from a blue blood school at Michigan that had carries as a freshman and did some good things for the Wolverines. So you have somebody that in Parker that could be an every down back, especially for the future. And then you got Sutton Smith, who's that change of pace speed guy, which in Tim Cramsey's offense, speed is not only a priority, it's a necessity. That's a big thing in Tim Cramsey's, West Coast spread is what, I'm going to be calling it from here till they tell me otherwise. Then you got Cam Settles, who has shown some promising things about his game that can be a part of the future, along with, Markeelan Batten and TJ Hodges, who they signed in the freshman class. So you've got 6 right now. They seem to be set right there.
All right, let's move to wide receiver. And they were busy in the portal. I got 4 right now. Memphis wide receiver Jamari Hawkins, who I was a fan of. Not a big wide receiver, but he seems to run strong, has some speed. New Mexico State wide receiver Donovan Fapel. Love this guy, and I love his toughness and his attitude. Boise State wide receiver Chris Marshall, who they added over the weekend, the big wide receiver that they needed. And then took a little bit of a chance, but when you have a guy with that much speed, why not bring him in? And Jelani Watkins from LSU, the guy can absolutely fly.
That's exactly right. So, considering if you have 3 wide receivers on the field at a time in a set, that's what they're going to be set up like most likely. You got 3 deep at every position, and that's what you want. So Jaylen Brown, Donovan Fapel, Courtney Crutchfield, that would be 1 outside wide receiver. Let's call that the X. The Y, that would be your other outside receiver. Antonio Jordan, Monte Harrison, Marshall fits into that mold right there. All 3 of those guys are at least 6'3" or better. And they're at least about 220, 225. So you got a big body physical receiver on the outside. That's what I was praying that they would get in the portal. When Malcolm Simmons flipped his script and didn't choose A&M, Arkansas, or Kentucky and went to Texas Tech, I was like, all right, that's a good thing they got Marshall right there. And Simmons is not an outside, a huge guy, but he's a big play threat. So I really like those outside receivers. Assuming, Jaylen Brown comes back healthy, he's going to add competition to that. Donovan Fapel as well. That's going to be a really good, group on the outside receiver. Then the inside receiver, intriguing group, Wes. CJ Brown, you got Jelani Watkins, you got Jamari Hawkins, and Ishmael Sissy. Should he come back 100%? I expected Sissy when he came over from Stanford to be a big contributor last year with Omega Blake. So those 4 guys at inside receiver, you've got a lot of talent, a lot of speed. And, of course, you got CJ Brown leading the group that comes back with a lot of experience as a Razorback, and then a really good room that's blended right there.
You may be talking me into liking the wide receiver room more than the running back room. That's honestly pretty solid right there. I was going to ask you, so you've watched more of Cramsey's offense than I have. Is it mainly 3 wide? Does he go 4 wide like Petrino at times?
He will. Yeah, they will. They'll go 4 wide. They'll go 2 by 2. They'll go trips open, which is trips to one side and then an open receiver to another. They'll also go with just a regular trip set, which will have a tight end, on the short side of the field. Just all depends on what they do. They're very versatile and multiple in their formations. But, yeah, they'll go with a 2 by 1 look where they have that traditional slot receiver, bring him in a jet motion, orbit motion where they're behind the running back right there. So you got a good opportunity to have 3 receivers on the field, possibly 4 when they go to a 4 wide set.
You mentioned tight end. How much do they use the tight end? They signed 2. The Memphis kid and the Boston College young man, Ty Lockwood. How much does he use the tight end?
Yeah, their tight end wasn't used a ton this past season. They used, short yardage situation. Adcock came over. He caught 70 yards and 3 touchdowns, right there at the goal line. They're good on flat routes, in routes, short angle routes. But that was what they had to work with at Memphis. If you got a Jaden Platt, you got a Ty Lockwood. Those guys are 6'4", 6'5", 250, 255. Those are big guys that can get downfield and be mismatches for a nickelback, a safety playing down in the box, or even a linebacker, an outside backer right there. So, those guys are going to present matchup issues for a lot of, back 7 guys in the SEC, non-conference, anybody on the Arkansas schedule next year. So they're going to create matchup issues, and they've shown that they'll adapt their offense to the personnel that they have. So they may use the tight end a little bit more in the passing game. A lot of H-back stuff. So they use them in motion sets to where they'll shift across and use them in a inside zone split, where the tight end comes across. It's the play that Sutton Smith scored on last year against Arkansas that put the nail in the coffin. Tight end comes across, kicks out the end, or goes to the next level. You can run an RPO off of that to where you dump it out in the flat if an outside linebacker is coming on a crash in blitz right there. So they'll use them in a lot of different ways, move them around quite a bit, and use them in a lot of shifts as well.
Is Arkansas set at tight end?
They are. Yeah, you got Adcock, then you got Hudson Hendricks, Hank Hendricks' older brother, who played fullback for Arkansas this past year, but they've got him listed on the 26 roster as a tight end. So you've got 5 in the room with Garrett's in there as well. So, yeah, they're locked down right there.
Okay. Let's move to the offensive line. They were busy signing the Memphis offensive lineman, Malachi Breland. I think he takes over at left guard. You got Oregon State offensive lineman, Adam Hawks, a tackle. Could be one of your tackles. Memphis offensive lineman, Josiah Clemens. I think he's brought in a young guy for depth and to bring along. Then I think a starting tackle and Bryant Williams from Louisiana, the Raging Cajun. And then kind of the wild card for a lot of people, out of Ouachita Baptist, started, at high school with Bo Hembry and the Lumberjacks, T-Rob, Terrence Robertson. And that's intriguing. That could end up being an awesome story one day if it works out for T-Rob. I kind of feel like they need another tackle, though. I'm not sold. I feel like it's not. They don't have 2 starting tackles. What about a swing tackle? Where are they there?
Yeah, they need to bring in another tackle with experience, and that's a guy that could slot in at that right tackle spot. Right now they would have a solid starting lineup with some quality depth. That's what you look at. If you go Bryant Williams at left tackle, slide Breland in at left guard, you got Caden Kittler and Kobe Branham at center and right guard. And then you'd have Kavian Broussard or Adam Hawks there at right tackle. You want a little bit more experience, and you want a little bit more depth right there on that right side, considering that you're projecting a left-handed quarterback starting. So you want that blind side to have an experienced guy right there. There has been some portal late additions for guys jumping in the portal here right at the 10th hour. You're not quite up against it with the 11th hour yet. That Arkansas will bring in for a visit here pretty quick, and they need to sign at least 1, if not 2 more offensive linemen.
All right, that's a look at the offense. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll examine the defense. We'll be right back.
It's Gwatney Buick GMC's Forecast Frenzy. A huge sale as nuts as an Arkansas forecast. Tomorrow's blizzard calls for traction. Get huge savings on Sierra and Canyon 4-wheel drive. Expect a heat wave the next day. Take the top off and enjoy these pre-owned. Followed by a monsoon. The front-wheel drive Encore will get you there at just $199 a month. It's Forecast Frenzy all month long at Gwatney Buick GMC. We never know what the weather is, but the savings.
Also want to give a shout out to our newest sponsor, A+ Alarm and Security Systems. When it comes to protecting what matters most, I trust A+ Alarm and Security System. I've personally used them for more than 30 years or 20 years, not that old. 20 years I've been using them. They installed my alarm and the camera system at my house, and they'll do the same thing for you. They will care for you. They are professional. They give every home, every business an A+ grade. From residential to commercial security, A+ Alarm delivers reliable protection you can count on because they're truly the key to your peace of mind. Call them at 501-851-7587. Write that number down, 851-7587. Maybe easier just to go to aplusalarm.net. All right, let's bring Kevin Bohannon back in here from hogsports.com. We broke down the offense. Now we're going to take a look at the defense. And already getting questions in. Robert, Let's see here. What Robert wants to know, are they going to bring any more defensive players in? I think we can emphatically say yes, Robert.
Yes, they need to desperately. And I say desperately, look, the defensive line, you may need a guy or 2 there. You've got some guys coming in this week. Let's see, you've got those are all defensive backs. That's good. You've got guys that are coming in. I think they're a pair of brothers coming in from Washington that are going to be coming in. They're about 6'3", 6'4", about 320. They're definitely coming in. I would definitely look at getting them signed. But on the defensive line, you're looking at 3 positions: defensive end, nose tackle, and then you got defensive tackle. So at end, that's your Quincy Rhodes spot. That's your 6'4" to 6'6" guy that's going to run about 260 to 280. Okay, Trent Sellers falls in there. And then Keandre Johnson, who's coming back as a redshirt freshman. Those guys fit at defensive end. Then you slide over the nose tackle. That's where you have Carlin Jones that comes in from USC. And then Antonio Sandel Bascom from Coffeyville that signed out of the JUCO. Is it Fat Boy Woo? Is that it?
Fat Boy Woo. That's it.
Fat Boy Woo. You got him and Reginald Vaughn right there. So that's your 300, 320 guy that's going to be a run stopper in the middle. That's where you want that guy. So Carlin Jones fits in right there at 6'3", 310. At defensive tackle, that's where you got your Hunter Osborne, David Oakey type guy that's a little bit heavier right there. 6'4", maybe be a little bit more athletic, not heavier. That's what I meant. David Oakey, 6'2", 312. But Hunter Osborne comes in from Virginia as a redshirt junior, 6'4", right about 300. So that guy doesn't necessarily need to be 300, but needs to be pushing it right there to add some beef in the running game right there. And then you got the jack position. I really like in the depth and the competition that's, setting up right there. Jamonte Waller comes in from Auburn. Then you got Steven Souls Jr. that comes in from Kentucky to go along with Charlie Collins. So that guy's going to be anywhere from 240 to 260. Really light, can play up in a 2-point stance, rush off the edge. So maybe another guy, doesn't necessarily have to be an end or tackle, but if you can get one or two for some quality depth right there to get some competition on the inside, I think you're good to go right there.
I read this morning about the two brothers from Washington that are coming in. And it's like hard luck story after hard luck with injuries with those guys. And when they've been healthy, they've been productive and been nice players, but they just can't stay healthy. And it's a roll of the dice, and you just hope you bring them in if you get them, and they have a healthy year. And I think they could be very nice additions to this line.
They really could. And, that's all you need. Some of these guys just need another chance. And you look back over the years, some of the guys that Arkansas has brought in, Markel Utsey, Trey Williams. I know both of those came from Missouri and needed second chances with Barry Odom coming down here. They got second chances. Trey Williams played really well. So, Chris Marshall falls into that category. Had some off the field issues. Couldn't kind of stay out of the doghouse, no matter where he was at. But these guys are getting second chances, and these are adults now. Indiana has shown that if you have an older team, guys that can go out there and conduct themselves like an adult, they can compete for conference championships and potential national championships if everything lines up right.
Yeah, it's a story. The Washington folks felt like the brothers were leaving just because they needed to just erase the past and get a fresh start. Yeah, just tough luck for them.
Yeah, Jalen Catalon's a good example of that. When he left Arkansas, he could have played, could have started. He just needed to get out here and kind of change his luck a little bit, and that happens in every sport.
Let's move to linebacker. They were very busy at the linebacker position. Looks like they added 5 linebackers. Of course, some of it's just for depth, but they didn't have a lot of depth, and they needed to sign 5. Do they need to sign any more?
I don't think they need to sign any more right now. I think they're set right now. They got, they're looking at, 7 or 8 guys right there. Bradley Shaw and Wyatt Simmons were the only guys they had. That's their Mike backer right there. A little bit of depth right there. You're looking at Jeremy Evans and Ben Bogle. Ben Bogle was the FCS All-American that went to West Virginia. And then the wheel linebacker, that's where they really made a splash, signing Kamori House from North Carolina. I really like his game. Really quick twitch guy that can play out on the edge and can shut down a run game. So he's going to be really good in coverage. Phoenix Jackson and then Jaquavian Smith as well are going to be in that wheel linebacker spot in that 2 linebacker set for Ron Roberts' defense.
What do you see for Evans? I haven't been able to put my finger on him.
He's really kind of that hybrid guy right now that you really don't know what he can do. And some of the, if you're looking at a 3 linebacker set to where, you take some of the jack guys like Waller and Steven Souls that played linebacker, outside backer, and some defenses, Evans really doesn't fit that role really well. He doesn't fit that guy. So he can really kind of play out on the edge, kind of in coverage a little bit. They'll find a spot for him because he's a really good athlete. It's just a matter of, finding where he fits the best and to where he can play the fastest. That's the thing with Evans is if he can play fast, he can be a contributor on this defense.
Are my numbers right? Do I count 7 linebackers?
You count 7 linebackers, yep.
Is that enough?
That should be, yes. With the 2 linebacker set like they give you 3 deep at every spot and then a floater. That's ideally what you want in this defense.
Okay. Let's go to the cornerback position because they signed, in my opinion, their 2 starters. I love what they got out of Joker Johnson, out of Tulane, and the Maryland defensive back Lakai Rowland. My mind, those are your 2 starters when spring ball starts.
Absolutely, and that's what they needed. They needed some guys with experience that played at a high level. And those two really did at their previous schools. Johnson led the American Conference with 4 interceptions, and Lakai Rowland had 3. So that's production right there. They're physical guys. Johnson's 6'1", 190. Rowland's about 6'2". He could roll even in 200, maybe 195. But they're big physical guys that have really good ball skills. Arkansas cornerbacks have not had good ball skills the last couple of years, whether the ball flies over their head or they can't get their head around quick enough and knock a pass down. So I'm good to see somebody with ball skills at the cornerback position. Now, depth is key right there as well. So you got Tyler Scott that's coming in. So he's probably going to play the nickel position or may even slide back to his safety. He played corner before, but he can do it right there. Then you got Shelton Lewis that came over as well. He's going to play at corner, probably that right cornerback spot. Then you got Braden Lee, Jalen Copeland, who's going to be a red shirt. He come in as a freshman as well. I think they're really set at cornerback right now. May add another one for depth. That way those high school guys can really redshirt and really learn the system before they're called upon to contribute in their second season on campus.
Who would you say is the candidate or candidates to be like a slot corner?
Yeah, that nickel that they're going to play in Robert's defense, Christian Harrison's probably going to slide down because of how versatile he is. He played safety at Cincinnati, but he played 4 different positions back there. So he's really the one that's the prime candidate to slide down right now and play that nickel spot for the Razorbacks next year.
Okay, I had Christian Harris as my Harrison as my starting safety. So who are the starting safeties?
Who knows, Wes? That's a great question right now. They brought Ian Williams over from Memphis, and he didn't play much last year, so he's just a true sophomore. Then you got Tay Lockett as a freshman and Kendrick Williams as a freshman from right down the street at Fayetteville High School. So you don't have 2 safeties right now. You pretty much have a half safety with Ian Williams right now. So that's the greatest need as the Arkansas Razorbacks wrap up in 2 days. They need to sign a couple of safeties. That's they got a guy coming in from Bakersfield College out in California, Songbay Ginu. That's the best way I can say it. He's 6'1", 195. Played as a freshman out there, had 33 tackles, had an interception. They've got a couple other guys coming in. John Howes from Middle Tennessee, and then Marcus Hicks, the safety from Iowa State. Ricardo Jones was the safety they really needed from Clemson. He was 3rd team all ACC last year, had 3 interceptions. One of those went for a pick 6. Then they got McGlure, cornerback from West Georgia, that's still scheduled to visit on Thursday. They need to swing for the fences and get a good one at safety here in the next couple of days.
Ricardo signed somewhere else, or he's still out there?
He went to Pitt, I think. Or Vandy. He went to Vandy. Yeah, he went to Vandy. We had an article written for him too. We thought he was really coming to Arkansas. So things changed the last moment in the transfer portal in 2026.
Well, could Christian Harrison play safety if needed to?
Absolutely. Yeah. So if you find a situation where they don't sign another one, you got, some guys that you could shift back there. But they do need one more, and you need to sign one more that's going to be a starter at least.
Yeah, I wrote down 2 safeties, 1 tackle for the offensive line, and at least 1 defensive lineman, if not maybe 2.
Yeah. So where they're at right now, they've brought in 33 guys. Okay. So with the 20 that's coming in at the high school ranks, that does include Hank Hendricks and the kid that they got from South Lake Carroll that flipped from Memphis to Arkansas. That's 53 new guys right there. I think we talked on here that I put the over and under at 60. That's about where they're going to end up, as far as bringing in new guys. So you're going to have 60 new guys on the roster for the 26 football season, and it was needed. When you go 2-10, you need to come in and have a good purge, get some guys with some experience, get some guys that are used to the program, and that can mesh well with the guys that are coming back from the previous roster.
Junior college is often overlooked now because of the portal. Is there anything, because they did go get Sandell Bascom. Any options at the junior college ranks?
Yeah, the Songbay Guinea, and I apologize when he gets to campus, and if he gets to campus, and I butchered that, but he's out in California at Bakersfield Junior College out there, the California JUCO League. that they have, that they're still bringing him in. He could be a possible defensive back signee that's coming from the junior college ranks. Don't see any others from the JUCO ranks right now, Wes. That's about it.
When are the last visits scheduled?
Thursday. I think that's the last day. Friday, that's the last day that they could possibly bring anybody in for visits. We've got 3 or 4 that are confirmed for Thursday, none that are confirmed for Friday right now.
All right, we got a question coming in. If you got any questions, comments, you can hit us up right now. Shaw says, "What about Ben and his brother?" Oh,
his brother went to Nebraska.
Yeah. Were you surprised by that? I was a little surprised. I thought the brother connection would
yeah. When we were, it's an interior guy, so they're pretty set. When Breland came aboard, Mbenja was really looking at, okay, I'm gonna come over from LSU. I'm gonna start. He ended up going to Nebraska. We figured if he did not leave with a signed contract, he was looking elsewhere. So once he left, and Danny reported the other day that he was still waiting his decision, I was like, he's not going to be a Razorback. And I think it was like an hour later, they announced that he committed to Nebraska.
There are very few guys that they'll hold that money for once they leave campus. And I don't think Mbenga was one of them.
Yeah. And, there's guys that, some of the D-backs, premium positions back there that you really want to look at. But, overall, you've seen ratings and rankings come out of where Arkansas, and there's a lot of opinion polls out there. But the key is, have you replaced what you lost and gotten better? That's the key that I really look at, that Trey and Danny and Richard Davenport, all the guys are looking at. And, you lost to Marion Harris that went to Oklahoma. You lost Tavian Wallace that went to Kentucky. Starzik, they pretty much traded for. They just got a more experienced guy. He went to LSU. Kevin Otis, that was a freshman guy. He went to Kansas. But North Texas, Kim Shanks went to Wake Forest. You lost to Zach Taylor that went to Appalachian State. Blake Cherry was a good young lineman that I wish they would have gotten to keep. And LJ Prudhomme went to Mississippi State. Everybody else is uncommitted. J.J. Shelton went to Baylor. They just, Ian Giffard. I'm still baffled by that. Ian Giffard, going to Texas. But, so far they've upgraded at every position that they've gotten so far.
Let me ask you, you said something that made me curious. Some guys from Arkansas that are still in the portal that haven't found a home, any of those that you would like that maybe they could see if they jump out of the portal, come back?
I was looking at that. Some guys like Kavian Henderson, that would be a, defensive end spot right there. Young guy that could come back. That would be one that I would really look at. Let's see. Anybody? Jaheim Singletary? Absolutely not. Bubba Craig may not have been a good fit at 6'8", 307 for the zone run scheme. That's really what you're looking at right there. I liked the Ferguson, Jacaden Ferguson trade. Really liked him as well. He's going to Kentucky. Don't see anybody else on here that really just stands out to me that says, hey, it'd be really good. But, Kavion Henderson would be one that I would take back pretty quick. Maybe Justin Logan to provide some depth at linebacker.
Was there any contact with the Metcalf brothers from Michigan on coming back?
Yep. I think TJ was contacted. Haven't heard much about it in the last couple of days this week, but I know that there was contact, and they, kind of reconnecting the dots right there. That'd be good for them.
I got a question here from Joey. What's up, Joey?
Yeah.
Is the Vol safety that just hit the portal visiting tomorrow? He looks like a starter, quality guy.
As far as I know, I have not heard yet, but we'll double check on that and put that out there. We haven't posted it yet. I'll put it like that.
Joey may have some good inside information.
There we go.
Not ready to put out there just yet.
Yeah.
But one to keep your eye on. That's for sure, Joey. K-Bo, I'll let you go. I appreciate you, man. This was fun.
Bet, buddy.
I feel smarter after talking with you. Thank you.
You bet, buddy. Appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. I appreciate it, man.
See ya. Kevin Bohannon, hogsports.com. Be sure to check him out. And all the guys over there, Danny and Trey, they do a fantastic job. Real quick, I want to tell you about Gwatney Buick GMC. If you're in the market for a new vehicle or a used vehicle, they'll take care of you at Gwatney Buick GMC. Easy to find, 5700 Landers Road in North Little Rock. Website, GuatenyBuickGMC.com. You can give them a call, 945-4444. They have some good deals going on right now. How about a 2026 4x4 Sierra up to 20% under MSRP? They got a 2026 Canyon 4x4 also at $399 a month. And they have a SUVs with the removable tops in stock. How about the front-wheel drive 2026 Encore GX? They're selling that right now, $199 a month. Check them out at Guatney Buick GMC. GMC, we are professional grade. Tonight, got Arkansas, South Carolina. I am headed over to Walk-Ons, where we're going to have the Razorback basketball post-game show brought to you by Bet Saracen. And if you're looking for something to do, come on out to Walk-Ons, hang out, watch the game. Big game for Arkansas tonight. Cannot afford to lose a home game. Just go 9-0 at Bud Walton Arena, and especially losing the game to like South Carolina, a team that you should beat, favored by 11.5 points tonight. Just want to see improvement on defense. I've been very disappointed. The second half of the Ole Miss game carried over to the Auburn game. The defense has been very poor. I feel like against Ole Miss, they knew they were going to win that game. They got into some bad habits. They were just going to outscore Ole Miss and get out of there with the victory. I think some of those bad habits crept in against Auburn, and now you want to just completely drop those bad habits. You got to get back to playing defense, staying between the goal and your defender, keeping him out of the paint, and it's just been breakdown after breakdown the last three halves for Arkansas. Not able to keep the team they're playing out of the paint. Dribble drive penetration's been killing them. So that's what I'm looking for tonight. Lockdown defense. Quit the gambling, risky, trying to get a steal. That's costing them. A guy gets out of position trying to go for the spectacular play, and his guy drives in. Somebody has to come over and stop the ball penetration. Then his guy's open, kick it out, three. It's just been a lot of risky stuff on defense. I want to see them get back to the basics, just playing good, hard-nosed defense, because I know they can. I've seen it this year. They've been a good defensive team at times. It's just hard to remember it because it's been a while since it seemed like they were playing lockdown defense. I saw Coach Z tweet out they're giving up over, I think it's 86 points a game in the SEC. It's only 3 games, but still. You're not going to the Final Four, Elite Eight. Heck, you may not go to the Sweet 16 if you can't play better defense than that. So that's what I'm looking for tonight. I want to see that turnaround. Offensively, they can score. But this team is much better. BA says defensive rebounding. I agree, BA. But here's the thing. They like to run. They like fast break points. They're great at it. They're great finishers. They're so athletic and fast and can finish at the rim. But to get the fast break going, you got to get a stop, you got to get a rebound, then you can run. Well, they hadn't had any fast break points here recently. Why? Because they're getting the ball out of the net and taking it out of bounds. And it's hard to get fast break points when you're doing that. So that's what I want to see tonight. I want to see, I really don't care how many they win by tonight. I think South Carolina is going to give them a test. You go look at their 6 losses, only one's a double-digit loss, and that was to Vanderbilt. And Vanderbilt looks to be legit. They're playing at Texas tonight at 8 o'clock too, by the way. That'll be a fun game to watch. But all their other 5 losses, it's like 3 points, 3 points, 7 points, 5 points, 3 points. They've been in games, and when they've gotten beaten, it's just been by a possession or 2. So I expect a tight game tonight. I don't see Arkansas blowing out South Carolina. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's a 15-point victory tonight. It's an easy win, and the defense looks a lot better. All right. We're going to go. I got to go to the Walk-Ons, watch the game over there. Come on out, Walk-Ons in West Little Rock if you want to, and hang out, watch the game. We'll be back here tomorrow night. I'm sure we'll be talking about the Arkansas-South Carolina game and more news out of the portal. Thanks for watching. We'll be back here tomorrow night for more sports.
All Arkansas, all sports. It's more sports.